All right, guys. So I've got the outdrive on, and I went ahead and hooked all the hoses up inside. I turned the water on to test to make sure it had no leaks inside, which I don't. And I was doing some checks on the linkage and found that my outdrive was stuck in forward. So I tried to adjust the linkage, and every time I come out here and check, I was still in forward gear. Long story short, in the last video I told you that little shifting rod only went in one way. That is incorrect. It can go in two ways. So that shifting rod was out 180 degrees, so I had to pull the outdrive back off and then flip that linkage rod back around, put the set screw back in. So that's where we are now. So I've got the water hooked back up. The prop we're not in gear. I got everything bolted back on again. I think this is about the third or fourth time I put this outdrive on today for stupid stuff. But anyway, I put this boat up right, just like it said to last year. I did everything according to the book. So I feel like as long as the starter will work, it will start. I was out here one time this winter, and I didn't start the boat, but I tried the starter just to see if it would click, and it didn't start. So, I think I do got a bad battery in there, so maybe it's just a battery problem. So the battery should be fully charged. They've been on the charger all winter, but I don't know. We're gonna turn the water on, and we're gonna see if she cranks. I put fuel treatment in it and everything I needed to do last year. I think it's gonna crank. As long as the starter will go, I think it's gonna crank. I'm gonna click the key on 2 or 3 times. You'll hear the fuel pump coming up. I wanna make sure I got fuel right at the injectors, ready to go. And since I shut off last year, it hasn't been started, so I need to turn that key on a few times to get that pressured up, so that it's not just turning over. I want it to crank up pretty quick. And I'm gonna go turn the water on. I'm gonna go crank it up, let it run. You're gonna see me moving around a lot. I'm not gonna do a lot of talking. It's gonna be loud anyway. I just want to make sure I got water flow and things like that through the engine. So let me go turn the water back on. We'll try it out. We got water. I feel like as long as the starter works, it's going to crank. This looks a little crooked. Yeah, I feel like as long as the starter works, this thing's going to crank. This is fuel injected. I mean, there's no reason for it not to crank. It's got plenty of fuel in it. Typically, as long as it turns over, it cranks. Two on the fuel pump. That's 3. That'll be good. Cross your fingers. Did start. Starter. All right, everybody. We're about done for the day. I've cranked it up, I've let it run, make sure the temperature gauge and everything's working inside. Feel like there's still a little bit of air in the motor, so I'm not letting it run very long. But before we go home, I'm gonna crank it up one more time and just let y'all hear the sound of music, I guess. And then we're gonna end the video. I'm gonna get the garage up and then make a few plans for doing my acrylic. So we'll crank it up one more time, open header, with everything will be coming out of the exhaust up there. I'm getting plenty of water out of this side. That side is sporadic. That's why I feel like I don't have all the air out of the system yet. I'm not letting it run for very long. So anyway, and I may have to bleed some air out. We'll see. I've got a bleeder in here. I think I'm gonna do that before I crank it. I'll bleed that one before I crank it, and then I'll crank it. Let's see if that makes a difference. Go. Open to the crank. Get going. So that one side up top is not producing a lot of water. I did get up in the engine compartment and shoot both sides of my exhaust with a thermal imaging gun, and they're running the same temperature. So I'm not too worried about it, and I'm getting water out of the bottom on both sides. So even though I have the exhaust coming out the top, there's still some that comes out under the water. And I got more water coming out at the bottom on this side than I do the other side, but I do got water coming out the other side. And they're within about 10 degrees on the manifold, so I feel like we're okay. I may have to, next time I come out, maybe take a radiator hose off or two with the water hooked up and push some air out. Because I did crack that bleeder. I did hear, there wasn't any air at the bleeder, but I could hear air in the hoses, so it's got a little air in it. But I'm not too worried about it. I think that'll take care of itself pretty easy. But we're done for the day. I'm happy that we got what we did. And I'll change the gear oil in the outdrive.
make sure all that's good, and then I gotta change the oil in the engine. And you heard the starter, it'll click and try to start sometimes, but when it does start, it starts beautiful. So I really feel like it's gonna be a battery problem because it's just so random, and most times it'll start. So I'm gonna get the batteries on there. I may go ahead and order a starter to have it on board because it is gonna be a booger to change. And I hope it's just a battery. I hope it's a bad battery. But anyway, I may go ahead and order one to have it on standby. Maybe one weekend when it's raining or something, maybe I can change it. I'm gonna start it a bunch of times before I make that decision. I may start it 100 times a day on the weekend. Sometimes you can kind of see, will it fail completely or will it start every time? Maybe it's just a solenoid or something on that. I don't think so though. You can hear solenoid ticking. Don't mean anything bad though. Anyway, I'm gonna shut this water off. It's a Sunday night. We're done for the weekend. I'm not gonna be out here. Maybe next weekend I'll come out here. I'll be on call next weekend. I may come out here and yank this motor part on Dirty Hooker because if it is something wrong with the rebuild kit, I need to know now so I can let them know. But I don't think it's what's gonna be. I think it's gonna be something wrong with the installer. That's what I think. But all right. Hey, I appreciate y'all coming by. Appreciate you watching my videos. Like the videos if you like them, share them. I'm trying to get a little bit of editing. I just now finally learned how to make a thumbnail. You watch all these videos and act like it's some complicated nightmare to make a thumbnail. And I just stumbled across it one day. It's one of the simplest things. It's easier than uploading the video. So I don't understand why they try to make it so complicated when it's that part is actually not complicated. So I've got other things to do as far as cutting and cutting some stuff out that we don't want. And fast forwarding videos, things like that I don't know how to do. Some of that stuff maybe, I've been shooting all this stuff on my tablet. You can probably do everything that you need to on a tablet. It's not just a basic tablet. So, and I know a lot of these guys shoot their videos with real cameras. I don't know. Some of those cameras are $1,000. My tablet was $1,000, but I use it for other things. So, I feel like I can justify that. My wife's got a nice camera, but I don't think it does that type of video stuff. But anyway, I'm ready to go to the house, get something to eat. So y'all have a nice evening, and we'll see you next weekend.